that same general whole is letting everything out from the chicks. So I don't.
But no, it's
Chris, have you ever actually seen a woman's body?
It's a separate hole entirely.
And now, Cheese Wits.
How about now?
Yes.
I hear me.
Yes.
Now you hear me.
Now I
and
hear
I
you.
sound fabulous.
Yeah, you do. It's much better than that silent part.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Some people think me being silent is a good idea.
Not on a podcast generally.
Oh, right. Podcast. So I'm wondering
if Chris is going to show up.
Right, because I'm wondering if he's going to say, "Oh, I forgot to turn my clock."
Which is what? Did you see the text I sent 20 minutes ago?
No, I didn't, but I did see he had posted something about moving the clocks.
So
anyway,
first of all, daylight savings time can suck my dick.
Yeah, mine too.
I sent that text right after I realized I walked into my kitchen and I looked at the clock on the stove and I was like, "Oh, we've still got another hour." No, wait.
Yeah, right. See, that is a bit confusing for us older folks.
And then to throw into it, I got to remember that when you guys say we're doing this at 4, that's 3 for me.
Right.
But 3 is now 4 or 2. I don't know. According to my body.
Oh yeah, so now it's 4. No, but no, it's still 3 there though.
It's 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 3, but it feels like 2. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's because it is 2 according. Yeah. There's a lot of mental illness tied to changing clocks.
Yeah, because you lose.
We should talk
sleep.
about that. We should talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's a real issue. Where is Christopher?
No. Should we start telling him that we're going to do this at 3:45 your time, so that then he'll be early?
Oh, he'll never, ever be early. Ever. He will never be early.
So basically, we have to sit here in silence until Chris gets
Yes, because we have all this shit going on in our heads. Because we're prepared.
I'm
and you're
texting
bringing up
him right
stuff
now, and then I'm going to call him too.
Yeah, the call seemed to have worked yesterday, even though he sort of disavowed. It was like Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. Yeah, you sure did. He probably looked at the phone and went, "The fuck is Jess calling me for?" Oh.
I do not want to hear anything about the moving the clocks because he posted about moving the clocks.
Yeah, but he also more than once now has taken a nap at whatever time we're supposed to be talking.
Yes. Yeah.
So we're doing this again.
He's got to fix that.
It's going to be an every week thing. I had a heck of a time keeping his phone number out of the last episode. Oh, it does work.
What works?
Calling you.
I fell asleep.
I just said that.
Just say.
Yep.
Just said napping. Gotta fix that napping schedule.
Good morning.
Hi.
What time do you go to bed, dude?
It's fucking daylight Eastern fuck you time. That's what.
Well, I figured that there would be a problem with the daylight savings and that somehow that would throw you. Jess and I had mentioned just quickly before you got here, I had said something about there's a lot of mental illness associated with moving the clocks ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Or moving them back. It's not just mental illness. I mean, obviously, it throwed your clock off. It throws your biological clock off, which affects everything.
It also, even as far as the mental health thing goes, I've been listening to this podcast about sleep. There's like a guy who researches sleep, and it's of interest to me because I don't do that anymore.
Yeah,
and
I'm with you.
He was talking about how if you don't get enough REM sleep, your brain can't get rid of all of the like toxic buildup or something that's in your brain. And so if you're not getting enough sleep, you're then not getting enough REM sleep, which has been linked to, in some way, the development of Alzheimer's and dementia.
I absolutely think that's true. Although I wish you'd call it something. What did you say he called it? Toxic, whatever.
Toxic buildup.
Yeah, toxic buildup. So I think it absolutely fucks with you. I also think not dreaming fucks with you.
Yeah, that's the REM sleep.
Yeah, I dream. I don't always remember my dreams. The last couple of weeks, I've remembered a few dreams, which is weird for me because I've slept enough to get REM sleep, because I don't usually get that kind of sleep. But I've had like 3 nights in the last couple of weeks where I've actually gotten to that stage of sleep. And I definitely find myself in a better mood.
Yeah.
After.
How about you, Chris? You in a better mood?
Well, I mean, you said you've been listening to a podcast about sleep.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing because you're on a podcast that makes people go to sleep.
Right.
So
maybe we should have that podcaster on our podcast.
Look at he so was building on that. He was silent in the background, waiting to pounce like a panther.
I was. Speaking of pouncing like a panther, bitch, how's your crawl space?
Yeah. How is your crawl space? You did have it worked on yesterday. All good?
I did. Everything's fine. Crawl space work is done.
Good.
Excellent.
Yep.
Excellent.
So every
Excellent.
crawl space is manicured?
Crawl space is manicured.
Okay. Still no more dampness?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Okay. Well, that's
You
your
might wanna
knowledge.
check that.
Not your knowledge. Wow.
Well, I'm not
Yeah,
currently examining the crawl space since we're, here on the podcast and whatnot.
Well,
I
you would know if your
felt
crawl
like it would
space
be
is moist or not.
appropriate.
You would know. You would know.
Well, I know that I have gotten, though I don't have a crawl space, I have more of a gutter, right?
Right.
A spout.
Was it swampy?
And it does. I'm telling you, I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. I think, man, I am sick of dribbling.
I get.
I'm sick of the piss dribble. You sit there, you can only shake so many times before it looks like you need medical attention.
Mm-hmm. Or
Because
your
then you start looking like you've gone into some sort of convulsive state, and you don't want to do that in a public restroom.
No. A convulsive state would look like you're, in a John Holmes movie or something. You don't want to.
That too. Next thing you know, you're walking out of the public restroom, and the police are waiting for you because you were shaking too many times.
Mm-hmm. And then you got to register for Megan's Law, and then it's all over.
Right, but I'm telling you, I'm sick of pissing. So if I wear loose pants, like not sweatpants, but like running pants that are kind of loose, and you tuck back in, man, I'm sick of the dribble down the leg.
I understand. I'm getting there. I've got it every once in a while. Matter of fact, it was yesterday. Yeah, I was taking a piss, and I hit the shower curtain, which is bad because that's 90 degrees away from where I'm aiming.
Yeah,
So-
I was more of the sprinkler system, where it wasn't a steady stream. It was sort of looked like one of those little flowers you put out in the yard.
Right.
It's for water to like water the garden. It's got 18,000 holes in it, and water flies everywhere. I'm telling you, Jess, you don't know. You're sitting down.
Well,
you don't see this.
Hold on 1 second. Now, Jess, do you stand or sit to pee?
I sit to pee, Chris.
Yeah, well, I will tell you, girls do. I know that I've grown. I've had girls in my house. Well, I have a woman and my daughter. Though my daughter doesn't live in the house anymore, but definitely girls have to wipe up too, because they pee and it does shoot out the front of the toilet sometimes.
Well, yeah, that's absolutely. I mean, it's like pulling a fucking cork out. It just.
So there's this sort of automatic go-to that it's the man pissing down the front of the toilet. No, it isn't. It's the girl too. And Look at Jess. You don't buy it, Jess?
I don't buy it because since there's been no man living in my house, I have not had to clean pee off the floor in front of the toilet.
Well, let's just talk about Jess's little perfect pussy, shall we? Good God. Isn't that nice? Jess's little perfect pussy goes.
Oh, my word.
It goes straight down. There ain't no other problems. Let me ask you something as an alleged woman, Jess. I lived in a place that had a woman and 2 daughters, and they told me about something called the period shits. Is that a real thing?
It is a real thing.
Really? Okay. So somehow your rag interferes with your bowel.
It basically affects your whole body. Yeah.
Really? See, I had no idea the period shits. That was new to me.
Well, I think a woman's period. Why am I? A woman's period also fucks with just her basic ability to poop. Lots of times.
I had no idea. Not being a person that menstruates myself, Wally, I wasn't exactly sure how the bowel and and Jess's perfect little pussy that pisses straight down works. I didn't know.
But there's got to be some sort of, you kind of figured if as a guy, you got to figure that if you were bled a pint of blood once a month, every month, it's probably going to affect you adversely in some way.
Well,
and then you throw in, someone takes a fucking, an electric mixer and puts it into your genome and starts fucking with all the chemicals in your body. And, hey, let's mix all this shit up. It's probably going to fuck with you in some adverse way.
Mm-hmm.
So I have not ever
had a period.
Well, I've never had a period, but I've also never chastised or felt like, oh, what is it, your time of the month? Because it's just a ridiculous fucking premise.
Because you didn't want to be murdered?
Well, no, because I have respect and I didn't want to get murdered.
Yeah.
But no, it's you gotta figure that shit out. That
I don't get it. How the fuck do you bleed for 5 straight days and not die? How the fuck does that even happen?
Well,
okay, that happened to me. Let me tell you something. I was pissing blood. I'd be dead.
We're not pissing blood.
Yeah. Chris, just a little biology here.
Yeah,
does come from a different place.
Mm-hmm.
It's falling out. Blood. They come from different areas of the body.
They come out of different holes.
Yeah. Hold on, Wally. Wally, you shit out of your butt, right, Wally?
I do almost always.
You pee at pecker, right?
Yeah, I do almost always.
Well, that same general hole is letting everything out from the chick. So I don't.
But no, it's
Chris. Have you ever actually seen a woman's body?
It's a separate hole entirely. It's just like
hold on. It's
like blowing a load, my friend. The load comes from a different hole than the pee.
Jess, let me tell you a little story.
Oh no.
Oh, he's going to tell you a story about the woman's body.
Tell me a story about the woman's body. Okay, I'm ready.
Let me tell you a little story about a woman's body. Okay, you say I've seen one. Okay, no. Let me tell you something. It's mostly in the fucking dark. That's number one. Okay, and number 2, my head gets down there so goddamn quickly. I'm not exactly going, I'm sorry. Do you have a piss flap? No, I'm not looking for that. I'm just doing what I got to do.
I'm thinking you do it with eyes closed. You're just feeling around. You're groping about.
This explains so much about why men cannot find the clitoris.
Oh no! Let me tell you. You ask.
I know exactly where it is.
You ask any woman that I've been with whether I can find it or not, and I guarantee goddamn to you're going to get an absolute positive rating. Number 1, and number 2, I'm getting down there like Ronnie fucking Millsap. I don't want to see what's going on.
Well,
and I'm going to wear a sequin shirt when I do it too.
I don't know where we go from here.
Well, I do. By the way, what the fuck is going on in Tennessee with your governor and lieutenant governor?
Which part?
Now, well, the governor, as we know, is a cross-dressing homophobe.
Yep.
Of sorts. But it looks like the lieutenant governor is an in-the-closet homophobe too.
Mm-hmm, probably.
So I'm seeing him. The governor is Bill Lee, and that Lieutenant Governor Randy McNally,
Hey,
who I
Bob.
really didn't know anything about until I saw a Saturday Night Live skit about him, and his going on Instagram and putting a 3 heart and 3 hot fires next to on the pictures of a 20-year-old gay man who was naked, and he was saying, "Oh yeah, you're a hot dude." So back in 2011, this lieutenant governor decided that people who are gay or LGBTQ could not adopt kids.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That sounds right.
Also, if you were black, you couldn't adopt white kids, and if you were white, you couldn't adopt black kids. And these fucking people, not just your state, Tennessee's exceptional in the both lieutenant governor and the governor are fucking wackadoodles. But what the fuck is with these politicians? Man, oh man. When are people going to figure out they just want their fucking money? They have their own set of rules, and they don't necessarily believe and again, I'm going to say it's the Christian right who push this, because they spend a lot of money on, and I see a lot of shit on my news feed now of God and Jesus, and the whole Jesus has really got, or God, I don't know if it's God or Jesus, or maybe the two of those guys. They've got a really good ad company right now.
Well,
a really good PR firm working for them.
What I'm looking forward to is when Bill Lee and people like him find out.
A great pitcher for the Red Sox.
Find out that Jesus is brown.
Yeah, I wonder what they're going to do.
I'm looking forward to the day they figure that out.
Then when they figure out the Virgin Mary wasn't a virgin,
right?
Okay, Number one is somebody on the Christian right. He was no more than suntan. Okay.
in the hot Iraqi sun.
Yeah.
Here's the now both y'all can go fuck off while I hug my pillow. Okay, that's what I'm gonna do.
You and the Gideons.
I'm gonna sit right over here. Yeah, you know what? I still don't know who the fuck they are. You know, you go in. Do you know what I used a Gideon Bible for when I was in Connecticut in a hotel room? I used it to scratch a lottery ticket on. Okay. How's that for your blasphemy?
I thought you used it to level the bed.
Yeah. I used it to whack my pud. Gideon.
The bed was the headboard was banging against the wall, so I put the Gideon Bible behind it.
Oh yeah. I was sharing a room with a guy that's really going to be having the bed banging against the fucking
Chris,
wall.
There's nothing wrong with it, Chris.
Here, my friend. No judgments
we
here.
love you either way.
No judgments here. You know what? Fuck y'all. I'm going to move to Tennessee, cross-dressed, put some emojis up.
Come on.
Call it good. Call it good. Bill Lee, what the fuck is that name? The last time I heard that name, the guy was on CBS FM rhyming. Bill Lee? Good God. Couldn't he come up with a better name than Bill? Is his real name Bill Lee?
That's his real. That's the governor's real name is Bill Lee.
Yeah.
That's the cross-dresser. He's the cross-dresser, and the lieutenant governor Randy McNally.
The closeted gay homophobe.
He seems like he's probably an in the closet kind of guy, even though he's married and got kids. But that's really just it's a foil.
Your state is a fucking episode of Bosom Buddies.
For sure.
That's what it is.
For sure.
Yeah. Except without the love.
Right. Bill Lee wishes he could be as charismatic as Tom Hanks.
Or Peter Scolari. He was pretty
Yep.
Jesus, yeah, pull that name out of a hat.
I just couldn't think of it, so
that's an old name. So I got my so while we're on this topic, I got my health. I told you I got my blood stuff done. But here's something I want to say. I'll say that after. I got my blood test done, and everything looked out pretty good. I'm a portly fellow now. Mm-hmm. I wasn't always, but I've got some meat on my bones. You know why? Because I like to eat, and I like cake, and I like red meat, and I like honey in my tea. Mm-hmm. I like food, and I don't really. But I'm going to have to cut back. I think I'm going to have to go on a racist diet of sorts. No more whites in my diet.
Says who?
I'm going to cut out bread and pasta and white sugar. I'm going to try to cut those things out because I have my glucose level is so high my glucose level is high. It's a 115. The normal is below 100. So pre-diabetic possible. So I'm just going to cut back a little bit just so I can lose maybe 15 pounds.
Okay. Diabetic here.
Okay. Yeah.
Let me tell you something. First of all, diabetes, it may kill you. And you know what? I had a nice sugared Coke earlier and it made me feel good. You know, my A1C was over 10, Wally. Over 10. A1C, it's the measurement of some sort of average blood glucose level for something to support the fucking prescription company. I don't know what, but it was high. It's supposed to be around 6 to 7.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? And mine was easily over 10. Okay.
Yep.
And, you know, it's weird. You know, I used to manage things. I'm not trying to kill myself, but after my brother died, I just give less of a fuck. Okay. I honestly just give less of a fuck, and I throw caution to the wind a little bit because I want to live. And you know what? If I want a slice of bread, I'm going to eat bread. If I want pasta,
you know what?
Pasta.
I am too. I'm just going to cut back on it just a little bit so I can, and I'll walk a little more. Though I walk like fucking 10 miles a day.
I mean,
but I'll walk a little more.
What I was going to say is I would encourage you to talk to a registered dietitian because I feel like over the last 30 years or so, we've been bombarded with information that bread and sugar are bad for you when they're actually not. And doctors don't actually study nutrition. Like most general, you know, your regular doctor, they don't study nutrition for more than a day during all of their medical schooling.
Yeah.
Registered dietitians go to school for that. And what you can find out when you do that is that there are no bad foods. Maybe there's different combinations and ways that you can make your meals more nutritious and maybe make them impact your blood sugar in a different way. But you can also find out that way that your weight and your health they don't cause each other anything.
No. But I do. So there's sort of a dichotomy there, right? So a nutritionist, does a nutritionist study medical science, and does a medical doctor study nutrition?
No, but a dietitian, which is different than a nutritionist, by the way.
Or dietitian.
A dietitian goes to school for years. A nutritionist, in a lot of cases, doesn't have to. Like somebody can call themselves a nutritionist without having gone to school for years. A dietitian has gone to school for years and understands how your food and your body interact.
Yeah. So I will definitely talk to somebody. I'm just doing that for my own self because I'm heavier than I want to be, and I know that I eat the things I do. I eat late.
That has nothing to do with
sometimes I
anything.
eat the pre-dinner meal. I'll have like on my way home, I'll be fucking starving, so I'll grab, maybe a drive-through burger. No, I never grab a drive-through burger. I'll have a bag. I'll have some chips in the car, so I'll eat a few chips or something. I have that pre-meal, and I get home, and I'm like, well, you went through the trouble of making dinner. I'll eat the dinner too. So then I just eat more than I should sometimes, and I want to cut that back.
Just make sure that if your body, and I'm not a dietitian, I'm not qualified to give you advice, but I would say that if your body is telling you it's hungry, eat something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The problem is I eat when I'm not hungry. That's the issue.
Yeah.
The eating when I'm not hungry. When you get home and you've eaten that junk food, and really compared to what's on the table, it's junk food. It's like some pretzels, maybe a candy bar, a Snickers to hold you over.
Right.
Then you get home and on the table is, look at that, a fucking beautiful some chicken and delicious rice and a nice asparagus, and there's that good food sitting there. And the good food tastes so much better than the shit food. It just does to me.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. And so I'm gonna try to cut that shit out. And that shit happens to be bread and sugary stuff. That's the stuff I tend to lean on when I'm not having a good meal or healthy meal.
So bring like a little packet of almonds or something in the car. Have that.
I do love nuts. So here's my problem with nuts.
Go ahead, Chris.
Have heard that.
Go ahead, Chris.
I have heard that.
But here's my problem with nuts.
It was actually on the bathroom wall.
Yeah.
Wally nut.
Wally loves nuts.
So I have a my trachea or my food pipe there I have to have. I occasionally have to go into the hospital and have a balloon put down my throat to expand it because it shrinks. It closes up, and so what happens
That
for me
seems
is
problematic.
nuts get caught in there. Like I chew nuts and they I chew them up. Yeah. The little flecks of nuts get caught in my throat, and then I end up gagging. And when I lay down, because they pool, they gather in my throat, and then I'm getting sick from having too many nuts in my throat.
Oh, I start making cat noises like I've got a hairball or something. You know, I start sitting there and I'll have like walnuts are the worst because I'll get the little pieces off the back of it, and all of a sudden
the little skin left on the walnut. I like walnut. I like nuts. I like all the nuts. I do. I like.
We have.
Yes,
we have both seen
this. Much. I mean, we have now talked about my crawl space for 2 episodes. So yeah, you choking on nuts is.
But I do. I like the walnuts. I like the pistachio. I really like the pistachios. But again, that little skin that's on them, that little husk that's left on them, that's the part that kills me. That gets to me quite a bit, and I end up with that in my throat. All right, so the rest of my blood test, and I'm really happy about this shit. My cholesterol, 151. Yeah. The goal is 200 or lower. I'm fucking rocking the cholesterol. That's the HDL. The LDL, 130 is to be below 130. 75.
Wow.
That's a lot of olive oil and shit like that. It helps that shit. Triglycerides, normal, below 150. 92. Yeah. Hello.
Wow.
You know, so this goes to your point, Jess, that I may look unhealthy.
I don't think you look unhealthy. Health doesn't have a look.
No, but people in our current society,
people assume,
right,
incorrectly,
unhealthy,
that if your body looks a certain way, that they think that they can determine your health.
All of my shit says you're okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're doing good.
Don't you love it when people look at you though?
Yeah.
Okay. And you're in whatever state you're in, and your medical stuff comes back great, and you look at people and say, yeah, my medical stuff, you know, my triglycerides, biglycerides, high glycerides, high lit and whatever else you got going on. Everything is perfect. And then you always have that one person, well, it ain't gonna be if you keep eating like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Guess what? Fuck your mother. Mm-hmm. Okay. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
Who was that runner? You remember there was a marathoner.
Was not me.
Was it Steve Mix?
Fuck Steve Mix. We worked with him in Cleveland, I think. Who are you talking about? Steve Mix?
No, Steve Mix was a basketball player.
Oh, okay.
Well, let's see. He was a.
Oh, Stevie Nicks.
He was a marathon runner.
Stevie Nicks?
Yes.
Who died in the 70s of a heart attack. And he died a horrible sort of death. And he was considered like he was a world-class athlete, and I can't remember his name. God, Lee, but it was in the 70s he died, and maybe that's why I can't remember his name. And what they found out was one of the things this guy did is he ate like these huge calorie breakfasts, high in cholesterol, lots of red meat, lots of eggs and things, and his arteries were just completely. Even though he was winning marathons. His arteries were just fucked because he wasn't taking care of himself.
Well, I think he was from Boston. There's nothing wrong with having bacon and eggs every day. Jim Fix.
Jim Fix. That's what it is. I don't know where I got Steve Nicks.
I went to the electrical repository of information called the Google machine.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, you went to your Google.
I was
Good
going
girl.
there too. I thought it was Steve Mix. Steve Mix was a basketball player for the 76ers.
I Googled marathon runner in the 70s who died from a heart attack.
There you go.
Jim
see
Fix.
that real quick?
The thing is, it's not the eggs and the bacon and the whatever that killed him. It's the lack of, I'm guessing, vegetables. Like you also have to have nutritious, things with more nutritious value.
So he was probably, as a runner, he was probably carb loading a lot. Doing a lot of carb loading.
Yep.
and so that those things were so when he died, everybody was shocked. And
But
I
see,
would've been
that's the
shocked when I
thing.
was a
Like,
kid.
that's one of the things I try to point out to people when they say, if you're fat, you're unhealthy.
Not true.
It's not true, because if it were, then thin people and athletic people would never have heart attacks or diabetes or
Yeah.
any of the things
So-
that are typically associated with fat people.
So that gets me to this other place, and I guess, and it has to do with language, and aged language, and we talk about this quite a bit on our show. We talk about using words like retarded
Hmm.
or overweight, or so I said to my doctor the last time I was in, I said, yeah, I need to lose a few pounds. I'm feeling, I've gained a little too much, blah, blah, blah. I gained like 20 pounds during the pandemic and yada, yada, yada. And my doctor not once said anything about me losing weight,
Hmm.
didn't even broach the subject.
I think that doctors are actually learning now, and there's still a
I
really
want my doctor to talk to me that way. I want my
about your
doctor to
weight.
say, listen,
No,
you need
because
to
your
lose some
weight, because you don't need to lose weight. You're healthy. There's nothing, your body wants to be at this weight. There's nothing wrong with that. That's why your doctor isn't bringing it up to you.
But my knees don't want me to be at this weight.
How much exercise do you do to strengthen your knees?
Yeah, Jen, I'm telling you, I walk like 10 miles
No,
a day.
how much exercise do you do to strengthen your knees?
I don't know.
That's
Well, I suppose-
weightlifting. That's squats.
Oh, I do none.
Well, that's the problem. It's not your
But I
weight.
can't.
It's the muscles around your knees that need to be
I
strengthened.
I can't. My
You
back
can.
kills me from being broken.
You can.
No, I can't, Jess.
You can. It's not about your weight. That's that's the whole thing I'm trying to tell you is that
you know
the
what?
reason your
I-
doctor's not going to bring it up is because it's not relevant.
To some point, Jess, to some point, that's true. But listen, when you weigh 500 pounds and you can't get up out of bed out of yourself, that's something to do with your weight.
That's something to do with your weight, but it's not what's causing health problems. What's causing health problems is the lifestyle associated with that.
Yeah.
What's
laying
causing
around
health
not getting
problems
up.
is your inability to move. But you know what improves your ability to move?
Moving.
Building your muscles
Yeah.
with weight-bearing exercise.
But you have to be able to get up first.
You start small.
When
You start small.
When you see
The
folks,
fact of your weight itself has nothing to do with your health.
I don't know. I think at some point it does. It hinders you at some point.
It hinders you from being able to do the things that maintain your health, but the weight itself is not a contributor to your health.
And I don't know. I mean, really, I don't know.
I've been studying this for a few years now.
I don't know if it does. I think that your weight is probably due to having bad practices, and then
In some cases, but you don't know
yeah,
that.
yeah. Well, no. And for me, it's bad. It's bad practice. For me, it's indulging in. I know what it is. It's indulging where I shouldn't indulge, or indulging more. And when I say indulging, I mean, instead of having one piece of pie, give me 2 pieces of pie a la mode, because I fucking love blueberry pie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's really my case. So I'm sort of like an alcoholic, right? So maybe it's a little bit of an eating disorder. It could be. It could have been from, growing up and not having that shit.
Mm-hmm.
And now that it's available to me, I'm fucking take all kinds of advantage of it, complete advantage of it. I don't know.
I just feel like you should be able to enjoy food and not have any
for
sort
sure.
of guilt associated with it.
But I think I'm enjoying it too much. I mean, I like it, and it doesn't help that I can cook pretty good, because I can make some good shit. And when you're making delicious clam chowder using, heavy cream and lots of butter, and that's how I make it. I don't use anything. I use heavy cream and butter and bacon.
And look at how healthy you are.
I am, right? So it really is about, some other stuff going on. And you're right, probably about the need. But really, I want to get back to my other thing about using language or age-related language, which has fucking flown out the window, right? So we get in trouble for these things. We're saying retarded or So I think, and I want to just point out that word because I think there's a huge difference between somebody is retarded and someone is a retard. Those two are, saying someone is a retard that's meant to be hurtful. It's meant to be just mean-spirited. Retarded, as the word as I know it, and as you taught me a couple of weeks ago, means slow or the meaning. So all of words are like that. So I'm okay, Jess. If someone says I'm fat, I'm okay with that.
Well,
because
and you should be, because it's just a descriptor, and there shouldn't be anything wrong with being fat.
Right, and it should not be a word that is thought to be a what is that when people may go off. You say something to them, and that's my something word, or that's what
trigger.
Is it? Trigger, yeah. See, trigger used to mean something on a gun. Now it means I'm going to fly off the handle and throw some shit. You notice how Chris is completely silent during
I was
this.
noticing that, yeah.
Well, I'm just listening to the old married couple bitch. So I'm just enjoying the show like everybody else. And I'm basically a relief pitcher. I'm sitting there today enjoying the show, and I'm lucky I can get up and fucking throw a couple pitches to close the game. That's me.
What do you think? I mean, Chris, what do you think? Because we've made our living off language.
Listen, I don't know what to tell you, you fucking fat retard. I have no idea. I really don't.
But we've made a living out of using words.
Well, absolutely.
And the
absolutely.
words have changed over time.
They have changed. And, the whole retarded thing. Okay, retarded means to slow down, as in I took your mother from the rear retardedly over the sawhorse. Okay?
Right.
That's, so you can do that. But my grandmother, I'll never forget this, sweet old, I wish it'd be 120-year-old Mamie Roth. What a fucking name. There's names you don't come up with anymore. Mamie, Gertrude, Florence. They just don't do that anymore. So yeah, Mamie. Nope. Mamie, Southern Belle Mamie. She was there in her apartment building after my grandfather died, and they moved from the house, and she got a condo over there at Leisure World. And the neighbors had a son that, he had obvious problems. Okay. And my grandmother would never say that he was retarded, but she would never say it loud either, whatever the problem was. Be a loud woman should be having a conversation about something. Says, oh, and of course, the Joneses over there in 307, and their son, well, he has a problem. Okay.
Kind of like the way they used to say cancer.
Yeah, cancer.
Yes.
In the day.
Mm-hmm. Oh, him. He's got cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like it goes away, or it's going to visit you. It's going to come like Jack Tripper. If you say it
out loud, it's going to know where you live.
It's going to be like Jack Tripper knocking on your door.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, well yeah, with the Tennessee governor being Mr. Roper dangling the Tinkerbell in his hand. Remember that shit? The shit we used to be able to get away with. Mr. Roper looking at Jack and doing the Tinkerbell shit. I mean, how the fuck did we get away with that?
You know why? I think because we didn't use it in that context. It wasn't used as a maybe it was. I don't know. I don't know.
Were you going to say as an insult?
It was. Yeah. It was to point out that Jack was, quote, queer.
And there was something wrong with that.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
And that's why you did the Tinkerbell.
And that's why we can't do it anymore, because now people don't want to be told there's something wrong with their lifestyle, because there's not.
Well, I watch a lot of old movies. I like old movies. I was watching something with William Powell today, and he used a word that I didn't know what the word meant. He said they were talking about donating clothes.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the fuck the word was, but I used the electronic device and I looked up, I Googled the word, and he said he was talking about passing down his clothes to his son, and it was better. He thought it was, I guess it's better that you wear the clothes and I see it on some blah, blah, blah. And I said, what the fuck does that word mean? I've heard the word before. So I looked up the word, and it meant a traveling sheep herder or Aboriginal. It was from it was a complete racist remark. It was so racist. It was just incredibly racist. And I'm like, hey, how did they get away with that?
Well, they got away with it because
crazy.
people weren't protesting it, and people were. I feel like a lot of people were made to feel like, in fact, there was something wrong with them. They were different. They were wrong to not be essentially a white man, because everybody who wasn't a white man was subject to this stuff. A straight white man.
Here's the thing. This is a question. This is a real question. You know, since we had real talk a couple weeks ago about my parents and me trying to fucking tag them like they're, you know, goddamn sheep.
Yeah.
You know, the real talk here is, okay, so we were watching Archie Bunker. Okay. Me, grandfather, father, brother, sister, because everybody watched it all at once when it came on at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock at night on CBS. Right. And you've got Archie Bunker standing there with Sammy Davis Jr. And he says, oh, you know, that Spade over there doesn't blah, blah, blah. And then he stops and the audience laughs. And then he comes back and says, no, I'm sorry. I forgot you coloreds don't like being Spades anymore. And the audience laughs again. But I know we all laughed at home.
Mm-hmm.
Every one of us did. But did we laugh because it was funny? Did we laugh because we were uncomfortable? Why did we laugh at that? Because we all fucking did it.
I always thought that show was actually making fun of racism.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
So we were laughing because racism is stupid.
But is it okay to
I think
laugh
we're
at that?
laughing because he was caught being a racist.
Okay, so in 2023, is it okay to laugh at that? Because he's being a racist. Is it okay for us to laugh at that?
I think it's okay to laugh at it if I look at it as the funny part of that is he's being caught. He's being caught red-handed being a racist by the person. It's like if I said, if there was, I don't know, if my wife had a friend who I couldn't stand, and she's had a couple of those over the years, none recently, but past years she's had a couple of friends that I couldn't fucking stand. And if I said, oh, that fucking Debbie, she's a fucking cunt, I hate her, and turned around and Debbie was there, then it becomes funny.
Yeah.
Well, no, I would laugh my ass off at that, no doubt.
Yeah. And I think that's the part that makes it funny is he's being caught red-handed. He's being caught being an idiot. It's like when he would say, and there's a word for it, when he would say a word incorrectly. You know, he would say whatever he was describing, he would use the word. I remember he used a joke that I have not ever forgotten. He said, I'm going to call the three wise. He was calling his attorney. He was driving a cab and he got in an accident. And he said, I'm going to call the three wise men, Rabinowitz, Rabinowitz, and Rabinowitz. And see,
but you see what we laugh at. That's exactly it. You know, and there's the other racist joke, which somebody told me. And of course I laughed at it because I thought it was funny, but I think it was because I was caught off guard. Guy calls a law firm. Okay, Rabinowitz, and Rabinowitz. And the guy says, hey, is Rabinowitz there? No, he's out, playing golf today. What about Rabinowitz? Well, no, it's Scholl. He's not here. What about Rabinowitz? He's on lunch break. What about Rabinowitz? Speaking. Yeah, see?
Yeah. I get, but that's part of comedy is supposed to catch you off guard. That's
right.
That's the part that's part of the funny. Part of the funny is it catches you off guard. It doesn't mean it leaves you. It doesn't mean, I don't think it means you're a racist or you're a fuck. I think it means it caught you off guard and it also made you think.
Well, let's take that and take a step back. Let's go back to let's just say 85. Okay. And Eddie Murphy is doing a skit about Ralph Norton or Ralph Cramden and Ed Norton fucking each other up the ass.
Yeah.
Okay. And then
Norton, when I say start pushing, you start fucking.
That's exact. And it was great then. You heard the audience explode in laughter.
It was fucking funny.
Can you do that today? Can that bit be done in 2023?
I think you can if you realize that Cramden was a wannabe wife beater. You're making fun of him. He wants to be this straight and narrow.
But he was always scheming, trying to make money.
Yeah.
Alice.
There was always something.
Yeah, he was always up to something. His bus driving ways. He was always trying to make a buck off cheating and doing the wrong thing in a big-hearted way, though.
So if you make fun of a guy like that for whatever reason, I mean, is that joke funny because you're calling a straight guy gay?
No, I think the funny part, or at least the funny part for me, is the impression, and just the idea of the boss guy, or the antagonist suddenly becoming the protagonist in that, right? So the guy who's normally the lead is now in the not the superior position, and he's the one that's going to be. I think, I don't know, but the impression is fucking beautiful. The Eddie Murphy impression is so fucking good.
Oh, it was awesome. It was a great impression, no doubt.
How, did we get mad that he did an impression of Gumby or Buckwheat? I mean, his impressions were so good, and they were hilarious, and they all had undertones of race or defect, human defect of some sort, right? The funny part about the Buckwheat impression was the lisp and the way he said buckwheat and the how he mocked his inability, buttwheat, and he would take out the CK. It would the way. And
the fact that he's a grown man still using the same language as the child in the show, and
or when he also would do the impression of too hot in the hot tub. Ow, too hot in the hot tub. He would do James Brown doing that impression. It just listen, comic genius is comic genius. And to look back on it now, because I see some comedians now talking about, I think Sarah Silverman's one of them, who talks about we should be embarrassed by what we found funny. No, I don't think we should be. We should be embarrassed if we can't adjust, if we can't modify.
What about Don Rickles? Could Don Rickles be done today?
No.
Could Don Rickles do his thing today?
No way.
What's the difference?
Not a chance. I think the difference is someone would shoot him as soon as he made his first black joke.
George Carlin. Could George Carlin do his thing today?
I think George Carlin could.
Yes, because I think so.
Educated.
Yeah, because George would point out the absurdity in.
Yeah.
George didn't. I can't think of any racist jokes George told. Am I wrong about that?
No, but let's say we talk about something that
George was making fun of the status quo. George was pointing out the absurdity in everything.
George Carlin would talk about pussy farts. Can we talk about pussy farts in 2023?
Oh, absolutely.
Didn't we just talk about period shits like 10 minutes ago?
Pussy?
Yeah. Well, and Jess's perfect pussy that only pees straight down. Of course, we can talk about that. But George Carlin getting on stage in front of a room full of people and saying, nobody talks about pussy farts anymore.
That could absolutely happen today.
Yeah, I think so, because it's also again sort of so. So here's the weird thing about that: it's a truth, right? So queefing is a truth. It happens. We all know what it is, no matter what you call it. But so is being black, or so is being white, or so is being Irish, so is being Jewish. So is all those things are true. Certain things, though, you're not able to. And I get what Chris is saying. You're not able to make jokes about. You can't make jokes about being transgender. You can't make jokes about white people. Can't make jokes about being black.
No, because those are.
But they're truths.
They're truths, but they're also groups of people who have been, and in some cases continue to be, systematically oppressed. And as we're trying as a country to break out of that, we can't also be making fun of something that is only true of one class of people that is currently being oppressed.
Listen, if you sat down next to me, Jesse, you had a pussy fart, I'd laugh.
My pussy farts are not being oppressed.
Well, you know what?
They're being oppressed.
Your pussy fart should be oppressed. Okay, I think we can all agree on
You
that.
don't know
not the
anything
same.
about my pussy farts.
Look, I know anything about anybody's pussy farts is I know that I was in a bathtub with a girl. Okay.
No.
And she let one go.
No.
Yeah, oh yeah. And of course, what do? I go,
You don't even know what holes are used for what, Chris.
Right.
Hey, you know what? It's a fucking assumption.
It might have been a
Okay.
lumpy pee.
It could have been. It could have been. You know what, Wally? You're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. And you know what? Maybe it was me farting. I don't know. I couldn't
Right.
even tell.
Have
Okay.
you,
All I
ever
know.
have you ever been called a pussy?
Yes, I have.
A pussy fart. There you go.
That's me. That's me.
I was
I'm
thinking
gonna-
myself, I've been called a pussy plenty of times, and I fart. I'm a pussy fart.
It's all right.
Why not?
Nothing wrong with that.
Just language has taken this weird sort of turn. Some things are okay. It's hard to keep track of what's okay to say and what's not okay to say. It does seem to me it's pretty easy to figure out what's going to hurt people's feelings. Well, no, it's not even that, because people will get hurt if you get their order wrong at McDonald's.
That's correct. That's correct. They've
There's
been
a
triggered.
Difference
You fucked
between being hurt and being triggered and being harmed, though. You're getting your order wrong at McDonald's is going to make you mad, and you're going to get over it.
I don't know. You may. I mean, look at the fucking guy. This guy last week who took a fucking plastic spoon, broke it, and stabbed a flight attendant while in flight
Mm-hmm.
because he was trying to get out of the. He tried to open the emergency thing at emergency door at 30,000 feet. When he tried to stop him. He stabbed with a plastic spoon that he had made into a weapon, and he had to be held down.
That feels like a mental health issue.
It feels like an asshole to me.
Well, yeah, but I know a lot of assholes who've never stabbed anybody with a plastic spork
No,
at 30,000
you know
feet.
what, though? And some stuff has to be said. And how much of mental illness is mental illness, and how much of it is a explanation of why someone behaved badly? Because not everybody
I feel like those could
who
overlap.
plays the fool. I don't think everybody who plays the fool. Listen, sometimes in my life, I have been an asshole
Same.
at times.
No,
And it wasn't because of mental illness. It was because of I was being an asshole.
Mm.
it's because you're a fucking asshole.
How many people
Right,
did you
exactly.
stab when you were being an asshole?
Oh, I've never stabbed anybody, but there are different things. I mean, different ways of being an asshole, right?
Sure.
With language or with whatever. It wasn't mental illness that caused me to be an asshole. It was my assholeness that caused me to be an asshole. But I could easily say I was triggered by something.
Mm-hmm.
I could easily say that, and it could be attributed to some sort of psychological episode. I think sometimes people go to the well too often to cover up for
Well,
plain and simple being an asshole.
I mean, these days, social media takes a mental health term and runs with it and applies it to people that have that are not even in the same room as the term that they're using.
No.
The
No,
term
you're right.
narcissist is being thrown around at everybody these days who does something you don't like.
Because people learn a new fucking word and they use it for everything.
Yeah, they think that that's
You know,
the thing,
misogyny.
and then it actually takes the power away from the word where it's supposed to be used to people who actually have that. By the way, no, just in that term, in that instance, that term is a diagnosis. Like that's a mental health diagnosis that none of us is qualified to make, and nobody on TikTok is qualified to make.
I hear this a lot too. So and so they're on the spectrum. The fuck? Because you're not acting appropriately does not mean you're on the spectrum all the time.
Yeah.
It means you're fucking not acting appropriately. When you've got your kid or you're a grown adult and you're in the grocery store, you're in the movie theater and you're acting the fool, you're showing your ass, like we used to say when I was growing up in the city. It was called showing.
Oh, we
your
still
ass.
say that, Wally.
Yeah.
When you're showing.
Oh, yeah.
So when you're showing your ass, sometimes you're just showing your ass. You're not on the spectrum. You're just showing your ass,
Mhm.
and we have to. So it takes away from the seriousness of real inner conflict that real people have.
Yeah.
If you can write it all off, if everybody can say, I look at those studies sometimes and I wonder, this percentage of people have this percentage of people have this percentage of people have this percentage of people are born with this. There may be 0.5% of people, and most of them are immigrants, who have no affliction of any kind. The rest of us are fucked.
Mm.
Everybody's got something apparently. And I think it's gone too fucking far with these nut jobs who aren't nuts. I think people use it as a way to escape bad behavior. And I also think that it takes away from the understanding that people who are not afflicted by something have of people who really are afflicted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Everybody's got something.
Yeah.
Everybody has something. I mean, look, I got up on the bowling lane today and got up there and I threw the ball and I had a beautiful strike. And I just looked back at people behind me that were amazed. I said, well, it makes up for having a small cock. And that was it. That's my affliction.
But Chris, you're not Irish, are you?
Oh, no. I don't have I don't have a cock that small.
Because I'm Irish.
Oh, good God. I just walked into the Wise to grab some iced tea. And there's this woman in the aisle that's looking right at me now. Because I said, no, I don't have a cock that small.
Oh, you're in the store and you're saying,
oh, yeah. Yes.
I hope you didn't trigger somebody, Chris. I hope you didn't.
I might
trigger
have.
her.
Let me see if I can tell the Ralph Norton joke real quick.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I guess it's Ralph Cramden, Ed Norton. I messed it up again.
What state are you in right now? What state of the union are you in?
Confusion.
Are you back in Maryland?
A lot of confusion.
Are you back?
Oh,
in
yeah.
Maryland?
I'm in full. Yeah. Well, probably relative term.
But here's another thing I think about some of the stuff we're talking about. Some language and some comedy and some comments are acceptable in some parts of the country and not in others. I think it's also kind of very regional, this stuff.
Sir, I was in Alabama recently, and there's some words that still fly down there, if you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, there are. Absolutely. There are absolutely.
That's why I couldn't live in Memphis for more than 5 minutes.
Memphis is a horrible fucking place.
Yeah.
It really is.
Memphis is still, I think we talked about this a few weeks ago. Memphis is still in 1950.
Oh, yeah. That might as well be Appomattox, Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I was.
Everybody likes Appomattox.
Appomattox was that way. It was what the fuck? They were still fighting the Civil War and had been over for 130 years or whatever it was. It's just, they're fucking nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Don't tell them that.
There is some stuff. There are some places you can use certain language or do certain jokes and be okay and adjust yourself from place to place to place to place. And I don't know if it's because one group of people is more open or one group of people is more closed or more broad-minded. I don't know what the explanation is for those things. Are you broad? Do you have a broad spectrum or a broad mind if you're able to laugh at the jokes we talked about, like the Roper jokes and the Archie Bunker jokes? Is that open-mindedness or is it racism? What is it? I like to think I don't find those jokes to be particularly racist in their writing, in their delivery. There's a purpose behind those. It's the purposefulness of those comments was to say this shit is wrong, and I think it's part of that. We can laugh at ourselves, but only so much. At some point, we got to own some of that shit. You could never do Archie Bunker today, ever.
No.
Not those jokes. You never could. Even though that guy still exists. That guy exists all over the place. That guy, middle-aged, older guy, he's older than middle-aged, but that 60-year-old guy who uses that kind of language, that guy still exists.
Yeah, but he exists down here in the South more than anywhere else.
Oh, no, he exists in fucking Boston, Massachusetts, I can tell you that.
Mm.
Absolutely. There's no way he doesn't exist there.
No, I said in the South more than anywhere else. I'm not saying he doesn't exist anywhere else. I'm saying he's more common down here.
I think he's more open in the South than he is.
Oh, for sure. When I was shocked when I first moved from upstate New York to Texas, East Texas. That was the first place I moved. Well, I moved to Central Texas. Central Texas it's military, so nobody else was from there either. It was when I got to East Texas that I was shocked at the way they would just throw out racist terms, talking about it's
not just the N-word either, is it?
No, they were talking. My program director at this station that I worked with in Tyler, Texas, was one of the kindest, most gentle human beings I've ever met. And yet he would say some of the most racist shit about the Mexicans who were out mowing the lawn. And the guy that was his boss and my boss, who I've told you about before, Satan, he had this guy who worked for him, black guy named Jarvis. Jarvis was so funny. This man made me laugh so hard. Super nice guy. And the general manager called Jarvis his boy. Jarvis washed his car and cut his grass and took his dry cleaning took his clothes to the dry cleaners. And Jarvis set up the station remotes and did whatever errands the GM needed. He called him his boy.
Yeah.
And it was nobody looked twice at him about it. And granted, I was only 20 something when I moved there and hadn't seen much of the world and didn't know that existed anywhere because I grew up in Little Berkeley.
Yeah, you did.
I mean, there was racism in my hometown, but not that it wasn't open like that. It wasn't open. I was shocked.
No, it's also a different kind. You grow. It's a different kind of racism. Mm. It's not an overt racism. It's more of a created race. It's more of it's hip to be racist sort of language, right? It's more of like, oh yeah, I use the N-word, or I say nobody
in Ithaca, New York that I knew would openly use the N-word. In East Texas, they probably still do.
But that type of racism, the type of racism that I would have grown up with, where I grew up in Massachusetts and maybe where you grew up in New York, it was more of a manufactured sort of, because you had you were carrying on something that somebody else had brought to your game, mm-hmm. that your parents or your group of friends or something like that. It wasn't, you really, you didn't, like, I didn't hate gay people ever, because I will tell you, my dad's gay and married to a man. So there's no hate in me for gay. However, all of my friends said fag or queer.
Yeah, I remember there was one time when I was in high school.
Hurt anybody.
There was one time when I was in high school, and of course, when you're in high school, you're stupid anyway. That's, your brain isn't even fully formed yet. You don't know what you're doing. But I remember this very clearly because I felt so shitty about it after. Because I said something like, ban the swish. And I was trying to be funny about banning gay people. I don't even know what that means. The swishing was your hand swish thing.
Oh, yeah, no.
And I don't remember I don't remember the context I used it. I just remember those were the words I said, and I was trying to be funny, and somebody called me on it.
I don't even know what that means.
I've never heard it either.
It was basically like ban gay people. And I don't know if anything against gay people. I didn't have anything against gay people back then. I didn't even understand what gay even really meant back then. So I didn't actually want them banned.
Oh, see,
The
for me,
swish?
The swish, yeah.
For me, swish meant, if you said swish for me, it meant hitting nothing but net playing basketball.
Isn't that the swoosh?
That was called a swish.
For me, it's like the tidy bowl man. The swish gape. I've never heard that.
You know, me.
It was, I don't know. It was the 80s. It was I don't know. But that was the intent. Somebody called me on it and I felt so shitty. And, you learn and you don't do that shit again.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Hey, listen.
Now, I'd like to know more about that phrase, though. I mean, if one of our 7 listeners could find out more about that, because I've never heard of the swish.
Well, we used to say in basketball, we used to say swish. If you,
I feel like it had
of course,
something
for
to do
basketball.
with there was a stereotype, at least back
but
then.
Did you see how Jess did her hand?
The swish.
And that's when you shoot a basketball. That's how your hand ends up if you've shot correctly.
Oh yeah, I guess that's true
It ends
too.
up like that.
But
and
it
you
was,
say swish.
there was like part of also the stereotype, the gay stereotype about how gay men would carry
maybe they
themselves.
Incorporated it into that. Maybe it was some sort of
Maybe.
code
I don't know.
in that part of the country.
I just know that I felt like a terrible person.
Hey, Jess, you mentioned something about a murder earlier.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I just read this. There was a woman who was doing a podcast, and one of her listeners, they connected on some kind of like online forum or something, and then she met him in person. And as far as she knew, it was just like meeting a fan, like meeting a listener. And she's married. She wasn't trying to have any kind of relationship with this guy. But he started stalking her, and she tried to file a restraining order, but the police couldn't find him to give him the restraining order. And I don't believe that it would have done any good, because that's really just a piece of paper. And he ended up murdering her and her husband. And that's why I think the restraining order wouldn't have done any good, because if somebody's going to murder you, then violating a restraining order is not high on their list of issues.
So who's surprised by this?
Not me.
I am not surprised.
Not me. That's why I started using a fake name decades ago.
But that's also the difference between that's the difference between fly-by-night podcasters. And I don't want to shit on anybody or piss on anybody's parade, but there's a professionalism involved that you need to understand and know about. And one of them is you fucking never meet with a listener ever in that kind of way. You meet them in a group setting when you're out and about, and it's, a lot of people you don't try to make personal contact or personal relationships. It's a much different, not a one-on-one personal. It's personal on the air.
But I don't think you learn that until you have to learn it. It didn't occur to me. The only reason I knew to start using a fake name was because I had a stalker at Kiss 102.
Right, but I think you learn it by being around professionals and being in a professional atmosphere, and you learn that. You fucking listen. One of the things, and maybe it's different for a woman than it is a man, but one of the things as a man, as a male, you're told. And my I had programmers tell me this: don't fuck with the listeners ever. Mm-hmm. Do not have relationships with listeners ever.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I done broke that one.
Yeah, I did too. I married one. But what that really meant is don't bring girls into the studios. Don't. And I broke that too. But that's really what it meant. It meant don't fucking. But I think it's different for a woman.
Oh, for sure.
Because as weird as this is going to sound very sexist right now. Women, or girls, women look, I think, at men entertainers in a different way than men look at women entertainers. I think I think women look at men entertainers as there's a possibility, or this could turn into something, because they're buying into that persona. The persona. I think men are fucking men, and they're fucking dirtbags a lot of the time, and they're not looking at. They're looking at an opportunity, an opportunistic moment.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
fucking can't allow yourself to be vulnerable, and that's part of the professionalism. I don't think I ever gave a female jock the talk, that hey, don't hook
mess
up
with
with.
Liz.
Yeah, don't.
I don't think
hook
you
up
would
with
need
Liz.
to.
I don't think so either. But you have to tell guys that.
Mm.
What's that, Chris?
I didn't say a word.
Oh, I thought you said something.
No. I didn't say anything. Listen, but I mean, I have had relations with female radio people just by listening to them and talking to them without them even knowing what I did for a living. So they don't all follow the rule. Well, at least 10 years ago they didn't.
I sure did. Back then, now, even now, if I were to go on a first date with somebody or meet a guy and exchange phone numbers, he doesn't get my real phone number because my real phone number can lead him, with a couple of bucks on the internet, my real phone number can lead him to my full name, home address,
right,
all kinds of information about me. So he gets a Google Voice number.
You look at my Facebook page, I've got a burner number on there.
Oh, do you?
And yeah, it's just, I've got 571-572-2211. If you'd like to call it, that's a Google Voice number that'll never fucking get anywhere. Goes straight to voicemail.
Mm-hmm.
Straight to voicemail. Can't attach it to me at all.
Well, now that Chris has given that out, maybe we can use that for our Cheese Wits number.
There you go. 571-572-2211. Call now, and first caller wins a big box of fuck.
I have never. So I'm much more cautious on. I've never looked at Facebook or LinkedIn or any of those sort of things as a benefit to me. As much as I looked at Facebook just as a way to, catch up with friends and family, but not as a way to create a fucking friendship thing, big list of friends. I've never looked at it that way, or for a way to contact me, because I already had a life going, right? By the time Facebook came along, I already had a life. So I wasn't in search of validation. I was already validated.
I do know someone who met her now husband because he was one of those suggested people on Facebook.
Right.
And she thought he was hot, so she sent him a friend request. That's not something I would ever do. It's working for her. Like, they've been married for years and everything from what I can see from my outside perspective, everything looks fine between them. That's not a way I want to meet anybody.
Yeah, I get suggestions now and again. Go ahead, Chris.
No, I'm just saying, no, I don't like that. I actually dove into the Facebook dating thing about 2 years ago.
I did too.
And I'm like, look, you know what? Look, if you can go out on Tinder and plenty of carp or whatever the fuck it's called, and see if you can, find somebody there or Match.com or that Dr. Neil Clark Warren bullshit. I figure, well, Facebook, okay, it's enough of a network that people are close, and this guy's, this Zucker fuck has got his stuff together enough that, his algorithms might put me with the right person. A girl I matched with on, one of them fucking dating sites, matched with her there, and we went out a couple times. And she sent me a text about a week later, says, this just isn't working. I said, yeah, okay, fuck off. It's fine. Not a big deal. Actually, what I said to her is, that's fine. You seem like a very nice girl. I wish you the best. And
nice salutation.
And then but we stayed friends on Facebook. And then she wound up matching me on Facebook dating after I got the clap back in 2021 when everybody was getting it. And
everybody was getting it.
Wait, you're cutting out, Chris. You cut out after the clap that everybody was getting.
Yeah, I'm fine. She's like, well, let's go out. Let's have dinner. Oh, shit. Right at the good time, too. I said, well, wouldn't we all like to cash out after the clap? But she called to check on me, and we went out, and, we were together for 8 months after that. I said, look, if we matched on another dating app, clearly something's right. So
Yeah.
did it cut off again?
No, you're there.
No.
We got you.
No, I don't know.
I am there. Good, because I'm looking at the phone and you both were frozen in fucking time.
Well,
No. I think we were frozen on purpose. We were listening so intently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we were just
my
completely-
dick.
We were completely engrossed. Oh, speaking of those dating apps. There's an app. I think it's in Iceland, and the app is designed because Iceland's very, very small. The only purpose of the app is to make sure you're not related to the person that you're wanting to date. That's something they need in West Virginia, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think they need that app in West Virginia. Make sure you're not related to the person.
A guy on Bumble the other day, and it said in his profile, it said all caps AMOSC. And I was like, this motherfucker is going to make me Google what that is. So I close the app and I go Google what it means. And it means add me on Snapchat. Why is a man over 40 trying to get people on a dating app to add him on Snapchat? I'll tell you why, because he's married.
So Snapchat doesn't keep a record of.
Snapchat deletes, if I understand it right, Snapchat deletes messages right after you see them. So that means his wife
Not
will
necessarily.
never find them. What?
See, now this is what I
Explain,
was
Chris.
talking about.
Explain.
Yeah, not necessarily. It's Snapchat. You can have different settings on there that it'll delete immediately. It'll delete 24 hours after. It will never delete. I mean, it does all that sort of stuff. And I only know because I was trying to fuck this. No, I'm kidding. I kept Snapchat literally for my nieces and nephews because that's how I kept up with them, because they're like, Facebook, that's for old people. Suck my dick. Yeah, it is for old people. That's how I kept up with my
I feel
nieces
like
and nephews.
that's reasonable, but then would you be adding grown women on Snapchat to communicate with them, or would you exchange phone numbers or be on the old people Facebook?
At this point, I mean, look, if I'm halfway interested in you, which let's just say for the last year, none of this has happened. But before that, if I was interested in you, I'm going to give you my number, because you know what? I can fucking block you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to come over to my house, if you want to be psycho, bring it on, bitch. I was married to Julia Wright. I can fucking take it. Okay? I can fucking take it.
My thing is, if you're over 40 and you're trying to get people on Bumble to add you on Snapchat, you're probably married.
Yeah, there's something wrong with all that shit. It's like on Facebook, oftentimes I get like Jess, you were talking about getting someone suggested as a friend.
Mm-hmm.
And I sometimes get suggestions. Oh, here's a suggested friend because two of the people you know are friends with this person.
Right.
And the fucking goofy, or not the goofy part, the reason why this is bullshit is because my friends are in my age group.
Mm-hmm.
The people they're suggesting are fucking 40 years younger than me. And they have nothing. I'm not looking for a friend who's 20. Right? Because then I just look like what I am. I'm fucking, old fucking geezer looking. I'm not looking for that, but those algorithms are fucked up if they're saying, hey, here's a 60-year-old man that your 18-year-old ass would like.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck? No, that's the friend. And the reason why that happens, as far as I can tell, is it's a friend of mine has a kid they have friend, because we had a rule in my house that if you had a Facebook, you had to be friends with me,
Mm-hmm.
your parent, until, at some point you were an adult, but you wanted to keep track of what the fucking your kid's doing.
My mother
Even
still
though-
has that rule.
Yeah, well,
Well, we don't want to talk about her.
yeah. But so my friends' kids' friends are now being, oh, here's someone you might like as a friend. No, I don't want to know Billy Batson.
No, I get some of my friends' children are suggested as potential Facebook friends, and I'm like, no, I'm good.
It's creepy. It's creepy that the algorithms do that.
By the way, Facebook also suggests people who are dead.
Oh, it absolutely does.
Mm-hmm.
It'll
Really?
suggest people that are dead. It'll suggest. I got a text from a dead guy the other day. So clearly somebody had gotten into the account, and it sends me a message, and I'm like, fucking Kevin Fennessy has been dead for fucking 7 years. But I just got a message from Kevin Fennessy. Let's see what the afterlife is like. So it says, hi. And I said, hey, how are things up there? And he says, great. Have you heard about the new government program? And I said, no. Is this the one where I come by and I fuck your wife? And I don't understand. Me fucking your wife and then blowing it on her face. Well, no, I was talking about the government program that I've received $8,000 from.
Oh,
and and then it starts going weirder and weirder. But you get that on dating apps too.
Mm-hmm.
I matched with this chick years ago, and we're talking, and it seems legit. I mean, she was really cute. Of course, this Nigerian prince was very cute, and we're talking back and forth, and she asked what I was having for dinner, and I said that I was going to have blah 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 blah, and she says, "Oh, that's very nice. I just made myself a cheese hamburger." I said, "A cheese hamburger?" Huh. So I took another look at the profile picture, and I noticed a weird, like, 6-prong outlet behind this person. And I'm like, huh. All right. Picture stolen from some Greek website.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody trying to scam me with a cheese hamburger. Okay.
I like one of those Microsoft calls.
Yeah.
Saying, you've got a problem with your Microsoft, yada, yada, yada. And in the middle of me getting ready to be brutal, chickens started clucking in the background. So all I can think of is somebody in some African nation using the phone that everybody uses in the village to make a scam call.
Oh my God. You've got the guy, hello, this is Peggy from the Microsoft. And then you've got fucking Groucho Marx going quack, quack.
Now, see, I was going to bring up the fake country musicians who try to message me on Instagram, but there's no chickens in the background. It's not as fun.
No, I've got it. Just the most common fake call I got, and I would assume just about everybody. Hi, this is Rachel from Bank Holder Services, Card Holder Services,
Card Member Services.
Yeah, why they picked the name Rachel? But I fucking used to get that call 3 times a day from Rachel. Rachel isn't there anymore. Now they have the call that says, "Hi, this is Bill. I've been trying to reach you all day." And then if you're silent for a second, oh, that's funny.
There was one who called me, and they got through it was like a government grant that they were trying to reach me to give me this government grant for $20,000 that I would never have to repay. And I said, and nice. She was from the United States Department of something department, like it was department twice. And I was like,
redundancy department.
I was like, really? Can you send that to me in cash? Will you deliver it in a suitcase at my front door? How do I get the money? And she started to tell me something, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna pass. And she went, what? And I was like, no, I feel like you are a scammer, and I'm gonna pass. And I hung up on her. And 2 hours later, I get a call from a guy with the same spiel, the same department of whatever department, word for word. And I started laughing. And he went, ma'am, why are you laughing? And I was like, because your mom called me this morning. And I hung up on her.
Okay, so I've got an app. I got an app on the phone.
Okay.
And I highly recommend it. It's called Nomo Robo.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Okay.
T-Mobile, doesn't T-Mobile block your spam calls automatically? Because they do mine now.
They don't do it well enough.
Oh.
So I've got this app, and the app is $1.99 a month. And you can choose whether the call comes in or not. It can come in and say that it's a spam call, or it just will go right to your voicemail, and it blocks spam texts and all this shit. And I'm like, you know what? That's a good price. And they update their phone numbers like every day. They update their list of numbers.
That sounds good.
But one of them got through, from Sears siding. Okay. And the Sears siding guy, I let him go on with his routine. He's just talking and talking. It's like, and we have vinyl and I said, oh, vinyl. Okay. And, square footage wise, you all can do whatever you need to do. Right. And you can get to higher floors. So absolutely, there's not a problem with that at all. And our work is guaranteed. And after about 20 minutes, I said, oh, this is so good. Because I have an apartment on the 37th floor on the east side that I cannot wait to get done. And excuse me? I said, yeah, 37th floor, New York City. And you might need permits or something. The guy fucking hung up. So, deservedly so too.
Yeah, so when you fuck with these people, they get angry at you.
Yeah, they do.
Absolutely.
And they start swearing at you, fuck you, mother, and they just get fucking just violently, toxically angry with you, but they deserve it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to eat a fucking pork chop.
Yep.
And you're calling me up about something that fake and trying to steal fucking information. I found one of the things that's great. I don't get any spam texts because I use my landline most often for anything I sign up. If I sign up for something at, I don't know, a service, then I use my landline. That way they can't text you anything anyway. So they just get a,
I don't have one of those. But T-Mobile does automatically put most spam texts into a separate spam folder, so I don't see them.
It's
okay. See, I didn't get that. I wish the hell that was available when I got set up for this. But, people, if you're an industrious person like I am, or maybe a larcenist, you decide what I am. We're at Thanksgiving dinner last year. And my dad, I just hear him bitching. He's just railing on his fucking giant food, man. It's fucking program. I go there all the time. I'm going there on double point days and going through and getting all these gas points added up. And I put in the phone number. It says no gas balance available. And what the fuck it is of these people? Like, I need all these cans of fucking dirty onions just to get goddamn gas points. And I'm sitting there and I looked over at Jenna and I'm like, Jesus Christ, I've been using Dad's fucking number for 2 months now. Do I tell him? Because I've been getting like 40 cents off a gallon here. I'm like, God, do I fucking tell him? Yeah. Wow.
By the way, I wanted to say something about Jenna.
Yeah.
In your cat lap fart episode,
did you like that?
Jenna has a sense of humor about farts.
Oh, so we're driving home from the bowling alley today.
Have to.
And she says to me, she says, Jesus Christ, did you fart? And I said, and I take in a big whiff and I go, no. And she says, it was me. and let me tell you something. This fart rivals anything that I've ever smelled anyone, natural, unnatural animal, do. It was a combination smell between shit and stale potato chips. That's what this car smelled like.
I made Jody gag the other night, a couple, like 4 or 5 nights ago. She was getting up to go upstairs and come by to give me a kiss. And I just let a little one come out, just small. But as I saw her walking over to me, I knew she was about to give me a kiss. So I moved just right so it could escape and filter. She got over to me. She went, oh my God. And I didn't get the kiss, by the way.
Well, I would think not.
I love those little, and sometimes there's the kind of fart that you can't get away from. Have you ever, it's going to be a silent fart, so you just let it go, but then it follows you down the fucking aisle in the store. You take a corner, it's still fucking, so you can't fart and quickly leave the area.
It's trapped in your clothes.
The next person coming down gets blamed for it.
Oh, you're you're sitting there in the jet wash of the fucking thing, and
you give your ass like a pat on the back, try to clear it out of your jeans.
Oh no, that doesn't help. That just pushes it out the bottom of your pant leg.
You're right.
Is what that does. All right, I got to get off here, but I'll leave you with this. We went to play bingo last night, okay, and we were in the Rocky Ridge, Maryland. Okay.
Mhm.
Rocky Ridge, I think that's home of the Klan, is it not, Jess? I'm pretty sure.
It probably
But-
is.
we were up there, and a lot of people concentrating, and it's the jackpot game where you got to fill in the entire card. You got to get all 24 numbers plus the free space. And you're sitting there, the room's quiet except for the balls going. It's like B8, I-19. And I'm like, I got to liven this fucking place up a little bit. So N37. The guy had to stop the fucking machine. The room was laughing so much they had to stop the fucking machine.
See, even is it a bunch of octogenarians at the bingo hall?
No, up there actually there was some old people, but this was more people, 30s and 40s. I mean, there ain't much to do up here, Wally. You play bingo or you watch bears fucking the trees. There ain't much to do.
All right.
All right. Bye, guys.
Y'all be good.